Hi, so let's have a look at the first example of conditional statement. So this will be the already mentioned payment system. Uh, well, basic version of payment system, which basically tells us whether a payment was accepted or declined. And to understand how it works, we first have to understand that we have an ability, we have an option in Python to compare things. So these don't have to be numbers actually, but let's now focus on numbers because it's much easier to understand. So you probably know from mathematics, from primary school, or from just like life, that you can compare stuff like if, for example, if you have seven things and seven things of the same kind, then you have the same amount of stuff. So you can say that these two things are equal. So if A is equal to 7 and B is equal to 7, then these two things are equal. What is important in Python, this is actually something we often forget, even I, as quite advanced programmer, I sometimes forget. When you compare things, like when you want to check whether something is equal, you use two equal signs. It makes sense because you use one equal sign to assign a value to something. So you cannot use the same operator because Python would have to somehow think on its own what you mean, and Python cannot do this. You have to be explicit. So that's why one equal sign is assigning a value to a variable. Two equal signs next to each other, this is checking whether something is equal to something else. And you have a list of operation here. You can check whether something is less than something. You can check if something is not equal something, and here you can see that exclamation sign has a meaning in Python. It's not equal, written together with equal sign. We also have an operator less or equal to, or greater or equal to. Some people have a problem remembering, I think even I had this problem when I was starting programming, whether I should write first equal sign or this inequality sign. For me, easy way to remember this, you write it the same as you say it. So the sign is smaller or equal, so you first write smaller and then write equal. Here you have greater or equal, so first you write greater and then you write equal. So that was a kind of mind trick which might help you remember what is the order of these things. Okay, so you have these ways of comparing things in Python. Well, how to get this behavior when some code is executed if something happened and is not otherwise? Well, the answer is in a way I said it. Well, in English we also do this. If something happens, do this and this. So the keyword is if, and it's another new reserved keyword which you cannot use for anything else, and this keyword has to be followed by some logical condition. What is logical condition? We will dive into it into more detail in a minute in the next videos, but basically logical condition is, for instance, comparing some like two things. So for instance, here we have an example where first we define two variables. One is account balance and one is payment value. And in the beginning we assume that payment is accepted. So we create a variable which is a message, and this message is at first payment is accepted. And then a condition is checked. So what is written here? Well, if payment value is greater than account balance, then this then is in Python is denoted by colon. Our message variable should have a new value, and this value should be payment is declined. So let's see what happens if I execute this, if I run this code. In the end, I output a value of a message. I want Python to write the value of my current value of variable message, msg. And let's see, the code is running. I'm connected. Yes, run. And payment is declined. So good, because payment value was bigger than account balance. Now we can check what happens if my payment value is smaller than account balance. I should get a message payment is accepted. And this is indeed the case. And why is that so? Well, Python first remember that account balance now is equal to 10, payment value is equal to 90. My message variable is equal to payment is accepted, and then this condition is checked, whether payment value is greater than account balance. Well, payment value is 90, account balance is 100, so this condition is not checked. So any code which is written here after if statement, after colon, with indents, will not be executed because this condition has not been met. So as you can see, similarly as in functions, we use indents to define which code is code inside if statement, right? So this code is not executed right now because the condition is not met. If I try to run a cell in which I want to check the value of variable code of if statement, then I should get a name error because this code was never executed. It was never executed yet, so Python does not know what is the code inside if statement variable. Only when I change the values of variables in such a way that this code is executed, because now payment value is 200 and account balance is 100, so the payment value is greater than account balance. If I execute this code, first of all, I get my message is payment is declined because this code was executed. So the last code which assigns a value to variable msg is this one, so payment is declined, but also this code was executed. So now if I run this code, everything is fine, and I can see that the value of variable is free. So here you can see how if statements work, and you could also see that this might cause these problems, name error, which you have seen before, that you think that variable was defined, but hey, it wasn't, because it was in an if statement which was never executed. So important thing here to remember is that code inside if statement, which is denoted with indents, is executed only if the condition is met. So this is the thing you should remember. In the next videos, we will talk about problems you might encounter using if statements, and also about, and later on, about more complicated things you can do with if statements. So that's all, and see you in the next videos.